I want to help you with your administrative systems, to strengthen your administrative systems. And I know that they are really not that exciting and glorious until they're not there, and then it can create incredible problems for you, and it can hold your church back. It can be one of the things that creates a lid on your church's effectiveness. So I want to help you with this. I want to help you train and develop the people in your church that God has put there by the Holy Spirit with gifts and abilities to do administration. And we'll help you. We'll give you the resources to help train them. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about is the leadership development pathway. And that is that pastors can identify these potential leaders. They can develop these potential leaders. One of the things that I like to do is say, find a way to meet with them at least periodically, if not weekly, and begin developing them. Maybe one week it's on one simple thing, like one theological topic, or one ministry skill topic, or a spiritual development topic where they're growing in Christ. And then I would say not to hand out titles too quickly. In fact, if you're going to begin to identify people that are going to serve alongside you in what we call an advisory council, I would like to ask you to please reach out to Pastor Tim and talk to him about it and let him guide you on establishing the advisory council. And this is why. The bylaws allow you to have an advisory council, but a lot of times these advisory councils end up thinking and acting like the boards. There's only one board of directors, and it has to be that way for it to be, for liability reasons, for structure, for the safety of your church and the district, and so many other reasons. Every nonprofit has to have a board of directors. But the advisory council is not that board of directors. The advisory council is learning. The advisory council is local. The advisory council is advisory. The advisory council is like a student government association. And the board of directors is like the church school administration. So the advisory council could come up with things, meet, they can operate this way, but ultimately the final say has to be, or the veto power has to be with the board of directors. It has to be that way. And I know sometimes they don't like that, but it just has to be that way. And that's how it's structured. These leaders are going to assist the pastor in ministry. They're going to assist in organizational responsibilities. They're going to meet. They're going to function like a board of directors, but they're not going to be able to function as the final say or to do like, compensation decisions. They can meet and make recommendations, and that would be fine, but ultimately all of those things, housing allowance, all those things have to be done by the board of directors. And this advisory council will be your farm. Let me also say, if the pastor is going to recommend someone to be on the advisory council, to reach out to Pastor Tim and have us put them on the advisory council. Let the board of directors together with you, you're part of the board of directors, let the board of directors appoint them for a term. This will eliminate a lot of problems because you can get a Barney Fife kind of personality that thinks they own everything, and you can't get them to not be that person anymore, right? And so in order to have some order, you need to be able to have some selection process where they understand they are not there because you put them there. They are there because the board of directors put them there. That's really very, very key. And sometimes if it gets ahead of the board and it just grows into this thing, there's not this order and development that needs to happen. So we want to just encourage you, please reach out to the board. Also, there's a membership development pathway. And I have 3 minutes. There's a membership development pathway also built into your bylaws, and that is that just like with the leadership development pathway, the membership development pathway is preparing your church for self-governance. You are developing people spiritually, you are developing people theologically, you're developing people ministry skills. And so, just like with the board, if you have an advisory council where you have a farm team and an advisory council that are well developed, you can easily meet the standards and requirements of a self-governing church's bylaws that needs 3 or 4 of these people. And you have extras to choose from because you're the deep bench. Same thing with your membership. The moment you become self-governing, all of the people that you brought through your membership pathway immediately become voting members. So they are immediately given membership rights, but when they become self-governing, when your church becomes self-governing, then all of those people immediately have a vote. That's really very important because if you think about it, all of those people that have a vote, you want them to be able to say, we believe the doctrine of this church, we're born again, we believe in the vision of this church, we're committed here, and they're wise and godly people that are going to help make the decisions that help make the big governing decisions. And you want to make sure that you keep that gate and protect your church by making sure that that system is in place. Also, the systems, we want to primarily help you with the financial and stewardship systems, but compensation and benefits systems, the child safety and security system, your congregational care, your worship, your ministry operations, your communication and engagement, your volunteer development. So we'd be glad to help you with all those things and get those things developed. And there are requirements in the bylaws that say that if the board of directors or the district require certain things, that's something that must happen. There are certain non-negotiables that are required, and we'll talk about that here in just a few moments. I want to go back to this board and advisory council for just a second, and I want to talk about the differences. The board of directors is required. The advisory council is optional. That is, you do not have to have an advisory council. In fact, there might be some situations where it would be advisory to not have one. Like just, let's not have one for a while. We're going to put it on pause. And let everyone have time to grow and be vetted. And then when the time is right, when the Lord reveals that, then we can put it back in and put them in the right place with permanence. See what I'm saying? So in some cases, it's just kind of gotten unregulated. It needs to be brought back. And so if you feel like you're in that kind of situation, please reach out to Pastor Tim or me, and we'll help you. And then also, the board of directors is fiduciary. That is, they have a legal responsibility for your church. You do, the superintendent does, Pastor Tim does, and I do. So if anything wakes me up at 3 a.m., it might be wondering what is happening out there that we don't know about. Do you understand where we're coming from on that? So don't put us in a bad spot where we could be sued for something, or we could be put in jail for something, like taxes. So you might think, oh, it's no big deal, everybody loves Jesus, let's just love Jesus. And I'm like, let's follow the law, that's what Jesus did, okay? All right, then the board of directors gives oversight. They're the ones that approve bank signers, contracts, insurance, large expenditures. The board of directors sets compensation and benefits. The board of directors sets the housing allowance. They're the ones that authorize to buy and sell real estate. I've had it happen when that's been attempted. And I will just say that should not happen. And the bylaws state very clearly how things should happen there. And I'll say, even if you're self-governing, at some point, you still have to follow your bylaws. You still have to have a board of directors. It's not like a life without restraints, right? And these restraints are good. They are good for you and for the church. So I want to encourage you with that. Now, the advisory council is appointed. They are not independent of the board of directors. This is not the board of directors. And the advisory council is in a development process. Does that help? I think there's been some confusion on that, so we want a new baseline on this so everyone understands. A board of directors have a legal responsibility for your church. They provide accountability and transparency. They share wisdom. They're a sounding board for you, and we want to be a sounding board with you. They want to protect you. We want to protect you. We want to provide health for your church. There are certain duties of care, which I'm not going to go over, but you can read them on your own. So we're going to try to move along quickly. Certain duties of care that are required of boards. That this is like nonprofit law. This isn't just like something I came up with. And so I want to encourage you to think about your church as a legal nonprofit corporation with a board of directors. And that board of directors, according to Indiana, must have a president or chairperson. In your case, you have both, a secretary and a treasurer. The treasurer of your church is not your bookkeeper. You are looking at the treasurer of your church legally. And so I have to have somebody there locally that helps me. So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing is I'm creating a DA bookkeepers network. I'd like to know who all of your bookkeepers are, your local people that are in charge of handling the finances. I want to know their name. I want to know how to contact them, because not only do I want to do better at showing oversight, but I want to help develop your people to strengthen your church, and I want us to all learn from one another. So I'm going to offer training and support to them and communication with them. If you will work with me on that, we've been started collecting that information. We're going to continue to collect that information, then we're going to be reaching out to them and begin pulling them into a team, into a network. And I think that's going to benefit you greatly. So I want to encourage you to do that. And then I want to just touch on this. Why do meeting minutes matter? When the board of directors puts meeting minutes into place, those are legal documents. In fact, it's very possible that a judge could read your bylaws and your meeting minutes and all of your correspondence. But they will look at your meeting minutes as official legal documents of your corporation. That's where you document decisions. That's where you document housing allowance. That's where you document all these things. And so the reason why we get very fastidious about keeping these meeting minute records is because we want to make sure we keep this all on file to protect you and your church and make sure things are properly documented. So please work with us to make sure that meeting minutes are made and that decisions are made so that we can make sure things are done well. I really am out of time, and so I want to encourage you to read the slide on insurance. It's important. I know some have felt like the insurance premiums have gone up. I can tell you they go up for everyone. That's because of the times that we're living in. But you can't operate without insurance. And the reason why we have one insurance carrier is because we have to be able to know how to oversee at any one time 40 to 50 churches. And so we're trying to make sure you have the right coverage, not too much, not too less, that you have people that care about you, that are helping you with it, and that also it is done. There were times when we discovered that we had churches that were not insured. Others did not have proper coverages, and some were not keeping it up. And so to make sure that we protect you, protect our whole district, we are asking you to please cooperate with this and let us have one where we can communicate with one company and we can help you and we can work together. And so that's our request. That's really all I have, and I'm over. Yeah, thank you.